Hello and welcome back. I was gonna go ahead and cover the Rippa R13 Pro cover up here and how to fold it down to try and give you guys an idea of what it takes, and just to show that it's a little more finicky than previous models due to having the lights and wiring. So let's get to it. Well, the first thing we got to do is we got to move the boom out of the way so that when we actually fold this down, the cover won't hit the actual boom and damage it. So let's go ahead and get the Rippa fired up here and we'll get it lowered down. All right, so as you can see, I just lowered the boom onto the ground. I'm not sure if I have that in view. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so I've moved the boom onto the ground. So it's basically right about when it's touching, and then it'll free us up to be able to do this. So I'd like to point out just a couple things that I've done real quick. I'm going to grab this and I'll show you. If I can get it off here, sorry. There we go. All right, so the lights have the wiring harness that the light goes through here. It looks like it runs all the way back and goes to the rear, we call it caution light, that spins at the back, and then it runs back through the tube up and then connects here at the top at this left front light. And the connector's right here at the top, but you could see I've put a series of like zip ties and just a little rubber grommet on here so that it won't go through the hole here. But basically when I go to fold it down, I disconnect this here. So I'll go ahead and do that now real quick and show you. So I just basically disconnected that connector, and so you can see the connectors here, and there's a hole where it can go in. So I just shove this in, and I usually just kind of feed this down as I'm folding it. I feed these into theirs, and then this rubber thing on the end stops it from going in the hole. So that's kind of what I've done. I think there's probably, well, I know there's better ways that it can be done, like attaching a rope to it or something that with a little something on the end that won't allow it to fall in might work much easier. I just happened to do the zip tie thing because that was the first thing I could grab in my shop. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it set up with the tripod again real quick, and then we'll go ahead and start folding it down. All right, so I want to point out there are two nuts and bolts, or bolts and nuts, yeah, on each side. The one on the outside is, let's see here, it is a 21 millimeter. So the one out here is a 21 millimeter, and the one inside is a 22 millimeter. So basically the first thing I do is just loosen these, and I remove the top bolts completely, and I just loosen the lower one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and loosen it real quick. All right, so I've loosened that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and remove, oh, I guess I didn't loosen the top one enough here. So let me go ahead and do that. There we go. And it has a washer on one end, don't lose that, it just goes on the outside. So I usually remove the top bolt on this side, loosen the bottom one, so I'll make sure that's loose enough here. There we go, just loosen it up good. And then we're gonna go ahead and go to the next one, which is right over here. really not loosening them enough this time for some reason. Oh. What am I doing? Wrong side. Wrong side. There we go. That's better. So we'll go ahead and loosen the top one up here. And you might have to pull up on here a little bit to relieve tension on it. So we've got both uppers loose and both uppers taken out completely and both lower ones loose. So I'm going to go ahead and set these off to the side. Now, as you saw previously, we disconnected the electrical connector, and I've just got some zip ties with the grommet on the other side so that the connector can't fall into the pipe and get lost in there and you have to fish it out. So I just kind of set that up as I showed earlier. These are all out. The boom is now lowered all the way over here. So at this point, we should be safe to start folding it forward. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab onto it, make sure you keep a hold of it. It's a little heavy. And just fold it down, and you can see the wiring harness comes out here. So you just want to make sure if your harness doesn't have any slack, make sure you get it, and then you're going to make sure you keep feeding the zip ties or rope or whatever it is you tied around the connector down. Now when you get towards the bottom, there's a stop right here, and this stop catches this. All right, I thought about it, and I figured I'd give you the reverse order as well, just to cover all my bases. So here we go. Basically, once it's down and in the position, everything's set to be stored. Then you can store it when you're done storing it. You can just come out here, and all you got to do is lift it up, but you're just going to want to pay attention to the harness when you're lifting it up. So you're going to just lift it up, and then you're going to feed the harness in right here as you lift it, and you're just going to keep feeding it. And then you also want to kind of slowly pull the connector out at the top as you go down. And there we go. And it'll kind of settle back a little bit, which is fine. And then at this point, here, let me grab the camera, see if I can get you a better angle. At this point, I pull and wiggle the wiring harness back out of the hole that it's in here. So I just kind of feed it out. Let me see if I can grab it here. And just feed it out of the hole like that. So now it's back out of the hole, and you can reconnect the connector. There you go. So it's reconnected up here. Now we're going to go ahead and reassemble the actual bolts on the chassis here. All right. Here we are. We got our bolts. So I usually stick one down, grab the handle and pull forward a little bit to relieve the tension and just feed it through, let it back down on the bolt, and then you can start snugging it down. And then we'll do the same thing for the other bolt with the washer on the outside, nut on the inside. We'll just pull back, relieve some tension, put it in there. Put the nut back on the inside here. Make sure these down here are turned in as much as we can by hand. Then we're going to go ahead and snug these up, but we're just going to snug them lightly at first so that we can get a grip here. I usually put the wrench against my belly or something, pull out a little bit, and then wrench to kind of keep it straight up and down and in line with everything. And then once you're in line and you're straight, like on the edge, you could, here, let me show you real quick. You can see, if you look closely, there's like a lip right here where this isn't in line yet because I haven't tightened it down. But over here, you can see how even everything is. So that's kind of what I mean by straightening it out. You want to make sure those are all straight and nice and even. So once I've tightened that top one down, I'll snug the bottom one down as well. Just a little. I don't over tighten the top or the bottom yet because I got to do the other side as well. So I'm just tightening it down to take up a little of that slack, like I said. And then I can just put this against the bar at the bottom, and we can go ahead and pull out a little bit and then snug it down. And then we can tighten this down because now everything's pretty squared up, and then we'll tighten the rest. That's good and snug there, and we'll go back over and we'll do the other one. All right, now they're all snug. Wiring harness is hooked back up. So that should be everything. Canopy's back up. We got all the wiring harness hooked back up. All the 4 bolts on both sides snugged down, and we can get back to doing what we're doing with it. So thanks again. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you all soon. Subscribe.